Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's session, we will work on MCP server. We will create an MCP tool in this video. We will test this tool locally. So this will be a password generator tool. So we will test this tool locally and we will deploy it on Azure Web App. So once it is deployed, we will grab the URL and we'll do the testing. And for the testing, we have been using this MCP Inspector tool, my last 5 or 6 videos. But we will also use Postman. Postman has added a support for testing the MCP server tools, so we will use this one as well. So once it is all tested and deployed and working fine, then we will go to Azure AI Foundry and create a new agent. And in that agent, we will link it with the MCP tool we created. And after that, we will send few prompts. We will ask it to generate a password for us, and then we can try with the different parameters. So this will be an interesting and short video on MCP tool. So let's get started. Okay, I have my Visual Studio open. Let's create a new branch first. Okay, we already have a tools folder. Let's create a new class. Let's call it utility tools. Let's create a method here. That would be generate a random password. So currently it just returns empty string. And second thing we need to do is we go to program and we have to register this tool. If we don't register it, we won't be able to call it. So we need to decorate it so it becomes the MCP tool. So that decoration comes here. So that would be MCP server tool. And the description of the tool. Generates a random password string. We can add few words. For example, generate a secure random password string. With the strength. Okay, I think let's just run it and see. It should return an empty string. And for the testing, we have to use the MCP Inspector tool, which we have been using in the last many videos. So copy this URL and make sure it is streamable HTTP and just paste it here. put a slash at the end and just connect. List tool will give you the list of all tools available. So click on that generate random password and just click on run tool. It will hit the debugger, so that means it's all working. So this is one way of testing, but Postman has introduced testing for the MCP tool. So what we can do is I have created an environment local. So the MCP server URL, let me copy that URL. I think it will be same. Localhost 5153. And just update the URL here. So that becomes local MCP server. Make sure you select the environment and click on next. Before that, make sure it is running. Yes, it is running. Click on generate password and click on run, and it hits the breakpoint. So now we have two different tools to test the MCP server, the Postman and also the MCP Inspector. I have been using this one, but I think now I should be using the Postman because we have advantage of creating environments and making few things quicker. So for the next few videos, I will use this one. So in that sense, we can close the MCP Inspector window. We will go to MCP Inspector if we really need to. Otherwise, we will focus on Postman. Okay. So first thing we can do is we can ask how many characters length of the password is. So I can add a parameter. I can call it password length. And that I think should be integer. I think let's say default is 12 if nothing is specified. Otherwise, something will be specified. Okay, so that is one parameter. Then we can ask, do you want to include numbers? So that would be a boolean. Set default to true. And one more that we can say for special characters. And default this one true as well. So we specified three different parameters. The first one is the length. What should be the length of the password? And then we want to include the numbers or we want to include the special characters and with their default values. Now, if we have to generate the password, so let's create some constants. Yeah. So these are the lowercase characters, all possible, I think. And same we can do for the uppercase characters. And same for the numbers. There you go. It's intelligent. and then would be special characters. Yeah, I think it based on the parameters, it's automatically giving me suggestions. I hope so. If I say include numbers, sorry, if I say include number, then we can create a string here which says valid characters. So that would be lowercase plus uppercase. But if we says include number, then this valid characters becomes includes number as well. And same for the other one. If it says include special characters, then we append the special characters as well. Now we need to generate the password. We add a for loop. So that would be the length in the parameter. Let's remove this part. So if we say the length is 12, this loop will execute 12 times. And we need to store a password. So let's create a variable for password. So that would be a list of characters, I believe. Yep. And I'm going to add. So we have a list of valid characters. So that will be, because this is a string, so we can extract the character or we can access the character based on the index. So what would be the index? For that, we need to have a random. So let's create a random variable. Okay. So that would be random character. There is a function called next, and that takes the maximum value. So the maximum value would be how many valid characters we have dot length. Okay, so depending on the length, this will be a for each loop, and then we have a long string of valid characters, and then we randomly pick characters from this list. So once we have that, we can simply return this password. So we have to convert this string. The password is character array. So this is how you convert it into the string. And I think that's it. Let's run and see. It's running. So I would say let's disconnect. Or maybe I think we should use the refresh. Okay, so I am going to generate 20 characters. I am saying include numbers, which is true by default, and include special characters, true by default, and click on run. Okay, so the length is 20, include number true, include special character is also true. Okay, so currently the valid characters is A to Z lowercase plus A to Z uppercase, and including the number will include the numbers as well. Yes, number at the end. And for the special characters, this will include the special characters as well. All good. And then there will be a for loop, and it randomly picks this number G. And if I run it, then password has 20 characters in it, and these are the random characters, and I should return it. Okay, so this is the password generated. We can preview here as well. I can make it 30, send a request, and this should return 30 characters long password. Okay, so that's look okay. Now next thing we can do is if it is a strong password or it is a not strong password. For example, let me run it again. For example, if I say password length is just 5, so it will generate a password. It's not running. For example, if I say password length is 5, if I run that, I can get this password only, which is not a secure password. So what I'm thinking is, once this password is retrieved, it will also say that this is a strong password, or this is a very strong, or just strong, or moderate, or weak, or very weak. So it should include that as well. So for that, let's create a function here. So that would return a string, and I would say password assessment, and this will take the string password. I did something. Score is 0 if it is password length is greater than 8. So the default is 12. So let's say 12. And then it's doing the regular expression. We can use that, but for lower cases, what we can do is password.any character dot is log. So if it is just 12 characters long, the score would be 1. If it contains any lowercase characters as well, the score will be 2. And if it contain any uppercase characters, then we can say score is 3. And for the numbers, it would be is number. Yeah. If it is a number, then score will be incremented by 1. And for the special characters, password.any. We don't have any function just like lowercase, uppercase, or number. We don't have any function for the special characters. But what we can do is we can check that if it is not a number, letter, or digit. So we can check if it is not a letter or digit, that means it has a special character. So we can use is number to is digits, I believe. Okay. And then we just call it here. So that would be string password. And then we call this function password assessment. I think so. Let's run it and see. So with 5, I think we needed to update this part as well. So this returns that strength or assessment. And then we can say that generated password. So that is the password. And then we have the strength and whatever the strength came back. Okay, let's run now. So we need to refresh it. Okay, we have a password which is very short. And then we are calculating score which says moderate. So password. So this was false. So that means it's less than 12 characters. But it did contain few special characters and low characters. So it's made it moderate, which is okay. So generated password is this thing. And then the strength is moderate. Let me do just 2 characters. Let's see. It's a weak password. It contains a number and a character, which is a lowercase character, and it says weak password. So I think that result is expected. So if I make 30, I'm sure this would be very strong. Yeah, so that is very strong password. Okay, so we have created a simple tool, and now you can easily see that how we debug it with different tools. We can easily debug with Postman. We can easily debug with Inspector, MCP Inspector, and now it's time to deploy it, and then we can integrate it with Azure Foundry agent. So right click and just publish. Okay, I think the publish has been completed. We have a health endpoint. Now just need to refresh it. Meanwhile, we can add a health endpoint, so that is useful in some cases. Dot get map app.map get. So that will be /health, and that's it. So we can deploy again. Okay, the MCP server has been deployed, and if we call that health endpoint, we can see something. Okay, so it's all running and deployed. Now switch to Postman, and this is not local anymore. So this would be Azure. If I go to Azure environment, I can see that I have set up MCP server URL to the URL of the website or the web app. So how to grab this URL? You go to Azure Web App, and the URL is here. Just copy this URL and make sure that it's starting with HTTPS. If everything is okay, go to your MCP tool, make sure you disconnect it because it was connected to the local. You connect. We go to the generate random password tool we have created, and also the other tool which we created in another video. Okay, so I am going to say let's 2-character long password, and I'm going to send a request. Okay, so the generated password is 5H, and it is very weak password. If I say 20 characters long, and I can also say don't include numbers. Okay, so I go this password, but that does not include any number. And I can also say that don't include special characters in it. Okay, so I go the password, which doesn't include any number or special characters. So I think it's all working, it's all deployed. Now let's go to VS Code and create an agent in Azure Foundry and test it from there. Okay, I am in VS Code. I have this extension installed called Azure AI Foundry. So this will give me all the agents I have. So this is the agent we created in last video, and let's create a new agent this time. So the agent name would be MCP utility tools, I guess. Model, let's pick GPT-4 mini. We'll come to the instruction in a minute. Add tool. So we can specify a file, so that would become the data source, or we can specify an open API spec, but we also have MCP server. So this MCP server needs server URL, which we can get from here. So paste the URL here, the server label. So that would be MCP utility tools, and it just accepts underscore only. You can't type dashes or hyphens or anything. Okay, allow tools. It's asking for authentication. We don't have any authentication setup, but I'm thinking we would have a different video. So we will talk about authentication, but for the time being, let's say no authentication. And it will try to fetch all the tools. So currently we have only two. So I will select get generate random password. In future videos, we will be creating more tools. So and click on create tool. Now, next thing we need to do is we need to provide the instructions. One way of writing instruction is you type everything here, but I would recommend you go to DeepSeek or ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to generate instruction for you. So that's the background, the context of the MCP server. Then go to your MCP tool, copy this whole thing. So if I press Control and Enter, I can go to the next line. I'm not sure if you can do in ChatGPT. So that is one reason I'm using DeepSeek. So paste it here, and then you can say, please write me instructions for an agent I am creating. Please write in a paragraph. Okay, let's copy that. Let's see what we need to modify. We can remove agent words. You should utilize the password generation tool by specifying the desired password length, defaulting to 12 characters if not specified, and by explicitly stating whether numbers and special characters should be included, as both are included by default. For a strong password, the agent can simply call, not an agent. You can simply call the rule with the default parameter. However, if a user requests a specific configuration, such as a longer password, a password without numbers, or one without symbol, the agent, you must clearly articulate these requirements by providing the corresponding values for the length, include numbers, and include special characters arguments when invoking the tool. I think this makes much more sense now. If everything is okay, then just hit on create agent on Azure AI Foundry. Okay, so the agent has been created. You can see it has been updated in the list. So we can now close this window. This as well. Click on the agent and open in Playground and write the first prompt. So we did not specify any length. We did not say include numbers or characters or anything. So it will take the default value. It is asking for authentication. We don't have any. Okay, so this line says it called the MCP tool, and we can say in the arguments the length was passed as 12 and include number is true, and also this is true. So which means it is taking all the default parameters, and it has generated this password and also said it's very strong. Okay, let's make some changes in this prompt. Okay, it says very weak, and this is the parameters we passed. And then it automatically added these things. So this is generated by the agent. Now let's write one more prompt, and I would say make it 20. It should be 20 characters long. But don't include numbers and special characters. See, the good thing is we are just writing prompts and it automatically convert those prompts into the parameters of that function. So this will become the integer, and also these things become the Boolean values, and this will automatically be passed as a parameter to that function, to that tool. So that's the benefit of MCP server and tools. So no numbers or special characters, and it says model. Now let's write our last prompt, and we can say 20 character longs and include everything else, maybe just 50 characters long, and it will include the numbers and the special characters as well. Okay, so it generated very strong password even if my prompt is missing something. So please generate a strong password for me. The 4 is missing, but it still understand, and it generated a password for us. I think that's it for today. We have created a simple tool, very simple tool, which generates the password. And we have tested with MCP Inspector tool. We have tested with the Postman. We tested locally. We deployed it on Azure, and then finally we created an agent with Azure AI Foundry agent. And then we wrote some prompts, and it came back with some passwords. And we could also see that how this all generates. And one more thing I would show is these threads. So whatever you see here can also be seen here in the threads. For example, when I asked for this thing, it generated this password. And if I go in the step detail, so it took 8 seconds, and the tokens is 666. And it says calling the tool, and this passed these parameters. So if you're getting some errors, so I think this is the best way to debug it. What's happening in the background, what information is passed to the tool. Now we are done with the basic tool. What I'm thinking next is we can create another tool which will be creating a user account. So that user will be something like create a new user account, temp password. So whatever the password generated here, so we can pass as password, and name is something something, department is something something, and email address is something at something. So if we write a prompt like this, we should trigger a tool. So that tool will take this information as a parameter, and it would create a new user in a database. So I will think what can be done on this, but that would be a next video. Maybe I will use Azure storage account, which I have used in previous videos. So maybe once you type all this information and execute the tool, so that tool will create a new user in the Azure storage table. And from there, we can trigger a workflow, a Power Automate workflow that can email to that person with a temporary password. So that would be a good flow. But that we will do in the next video. Before I finish my video, I just wanted to say something that people who are watching this video, 97% of them are not subscribed. Only 2% are subscribed. So it takes a lot of time and effort to create a video, and it takes more or less same time to edit that video and upload to YouTube. So just a request, if you like my videos, if you want to encourage me so I can make more videos, please subscribe and see you again. Bye bye.